Quinn Charlotte, A Bridgerton Story. This is a series that we never asked for, we never thought we needed, but I for one am so happy that we got it. I can't even remember the last time I teared up watching a show, but this one had me. Hi, I'm Stacey Kinyunjuri and welcome to the channel. Before I proceed, I should issue out a warning that this is not a spoiler-free video, but keep watching. Quinn Charlotte is a spin-off to the Netflix series Bridgerton. Bridgerton season 1 and 2 are pretty awesome, but I think for me, after watching Quinn Charlotte surpasses both of the Bridgerton stories. For me, Quinn Charlotte is now my favorite, followed by Bridgerton season 1, then Bridgerton season 2. Bridgerton is such a popular show, but for the sake of giving a cohesive review, let me summarize it. Bridgerton is a historical fiction romance that is centered around one family, which is the Bridgerton family. The story revolves around the social season where people who have come of age or people who are of age are sort of set out into society to socialize and find themselves partners to marry. The Bridgerton series is based on the book series by Julia Quinn. Because the series follows the chronological order the books were written in each season we get to see a Bridgerton sibling on their journey to finding love. In season 1 we saw Daphne Bridgerton, in season 2 we saw Anthony Bridgerton, and if I'm not wrong, in season 3 we're meant to see Colin Bridgerton. The books are set in the Regency era, which was a time in British history that was between 1795 and 1837. The story is basically about the dating lives of the high society at that time, also collectively known as the Ton. Set in that time, the books didn't have much diversity, and that is where the Netflix series Bridgerton diverts from the books. And we get to see the character that many people have been enamored by, and that is Quinn Charlotte. In the Bridgerton series, we meet Quinn Charlotte when she's already a powerful ruler that is loved and respected by her people. Quinn Charlotte, A Bridgerton Story delves deeper into the life and experiences of the Queen, and I think this role was played so beautifully by the actress Golda Roshubel and also the actress India. This spin-off allows us to understand the character on a much deeper level and also discover the events that shaped her reign. Let's talk about some of the characters, and first on the list is of course Quinn Charlotte. Our story starts off with her future being decided for her. Her own brother sells her off to be married off to the King of England, King George. This is a fictional story, but tragic times. Once the deal has been made, she has no choice but to leave her home and head to England to marry the king. Naturally, Charlotte isn't too happy to be forced into marriage with a person she has never met and a person she knows nothing about. Seeing as she's not happy about the circumstances, she does try to stop the whole thing. Fortunately or unfortunately, the wedding still happens and she finds herself having a rough start as queen and wife to the king.
I merely want to understand. You need to at least tell.
I do not need to do anything. I have decided I am your king!
She does discover some dark truths as to why she was specifically chosen to be queen, but at the same time this marriage between two strangers turns into a beautiful love story. I loved seeing how this young Queen Charlotte, who didn't have a say in how to live her life, took charge of what seemed to be her chosen destiny and made it her own. In this fictional world, being queen to anyone looking from the outside may seem like the best life one can ever have.
I cannot do whatever I like. I cannot make friends. I must hold myself apart. I do not know a single soul here.
But as the story shows us, we see that it can also be a very grand, luxurious, beautiful prison with walls that are invisible to anyone except the person who actually has to live that life. Even in real-world history, women haven't always had a lot of rights. But then in this fictional story, we also see that the king himself didn't have a say in who he got to marry. And I think that added so much to the story.
Your marriage is parliament business. Your marriage is the business of this country.
I think it brought out more depth of the characters And as a viewer, it was easier to better understand them and just feel for both of them. Another thing I loved is the portrayal of King George. This is a king behind a very powerful nation. And instead of seeing a one-dimensional character being portrayed as powerful, influential, and whatever else is often shown when portraying a character with a lot of power, this character is a character that is witty, charming, full of personality, and just a joy to watch. But on the other side of things, this is also a character that is deeply flawed. I enjoyed that it wasn't the somewhat self-inflicting flaws that most characters usually have. For example, in Bridgerton Season 1, Daphne is as perfect as they come, and the only flaw that the Duke seems to have is a self-inflicted flaw, which can easily be fixed. Again, in Season 2, Anthony and Kate do not have any flaws that they're stuck with for life. It's just external problems that they are able to sort out. But with King George, he has real issues that he has to live with. In a fictional story, I found that aspect intriguing to watch. And I think that aspect made it much easier to connect with that character. Lady Agatha Danbury's character in Bridgerton is one that I really liked, but I wouldn't have been that bothered had she been removed for some reason. After watching her in Queen Charlotte, she is now one of my favorites. Young Lady Danbury's story is that of a girl who from 3 years old was already betrothed to Lord Danbury. From that point on, everything she did was in preparation to be his wife. Watching Lord Danbury's character, it is very easy to hate him. He is as chauvinistic as they come. He sees no value in women except for breeding. But instead of a hated character, Lady Danbury's ability to show so much kindness towards her husband makes it easy as a viewer to sympathize with him, if not empathize with him. The world created in this story is one where people of color are not valued in society and they are not treated fairly. Lord Danbury is a man that comes from a good family. He's well educated and he possesses a lot of wealth, but even all that isn't enough for him to be treated as an equal around his peers. We see other members from the town, some who are less established than him, get to enjoy certain societal privileges that he is shut out of simply because he is different. In the unfolding of those moments, we see a beautiful dynamic between Lady and Lord Danbury. Lady Danbury understands her husband and one can say she is empathetic to his life experiences. She is very supportive of him and genuinely wishes the best for him. She strategically works for him to have a better place in society. She encourages him when he feels defeated and gives him sound advice, which leads to great success. But even in his triumphant moments, he doesn't recognize her value. He takes all the credit and she accepts this. She still cheers him on because to her, progress for him is progress for all people of color, including herself. As the story unfolds, we see how her acts for the greater good do lead to people of color being accepted in society. At the same time, we get to understand the character of Lord Danbury, and through Lady Danbury we get to understand why he is the way he is and why he's still a character worth caring for. The one critique I had about the storyline is those explicit scenes were just one too many.
Oh my God!
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
Brimsley and Reynolds, the Queen's right-hand man and the King's right-hand man. I have theories on what happened to Reynolds. One, which I'm hoping is not true, is that he died. The other is maybe he was released from his duties since the king's condition kept worsening and there was no need for a right-hand man. Those are the two possibilities I've come up with, and the second one might be wishful thinking, but I'm gonna keep it as a possibility. Sadly, I do think the first is the right conclusion, and here's why.
You are still his queen. Forever frozen. Forever waiting.
When the Queen asked Brimsley why he thinks her daughter's never married, Brimsley said something like, if the king died, she would have been hurt, but she would have eventually moved on. But because he isn't dead, she lives like a frozen queen. That left me thinking that those seem like deductions from someone who has experienced something similar. So could it be that at some point, Reynolds died and Brimsley was deeply hurt? but eventually he was able to move on. So him having experienced the pain of losing somebody that he deeply loves is what makes him a character that is able to spot a frozen queen. I feel like that's a more plausible deduction as to why Brimsley was dancing alone. But at the same time, I do hope that Reynolds is alive and maybe he's somewhere on a trip looking for someone or something that can cure the king. Let's hope the writer Shonda Rhimes gives us answers, and I hope they're gonna be happy answers. And speaking of writing, I thought this story was brilliantly thought out. I loved how the story unfolded, but I can't quite place it. It did also feel like the story utilized a writing outline or template that somebody who is well versed in the writing industry would know how to use meticulously. The story turned out great, but part of me felt like there was some lost spontaneity that would have created something even more magical had there been a more open writing approach. I don't know if I'm the only one who felt this way, but anyway, I love Shonda Rhimes and I love this story either way, so I digress. Given that this is a spin-off from the Bridgerton series, it was expected that we would see the spectacular world building and set design that the Bridgerton series has. But what was so great to see was the visual portrayal of Black people as they are. For example, it hasn't always been a thing to see a Black character's hair truly portrayed for what it could actually look like in real life. But here, we see that throughout. Even the main character, Queen Charlotte, was shown with natural, realistic hair. I think that is very progressive, and as a person of color, it was something that was nice to see. That is the end of my review of Queen Charlotte, A Bridgerton Story. It's a show that you're bound to like if you enjoy period dramas, and if you also enjoy Bridgerton. If you've watched it, tell me what you think about the series and if you agree or disagree with my review. As always, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and leave me a comment below.